Urgent. A wall of intense heat tears through the dry brush, consuming towering trees in seconds, leaving only ash behind. Through the choking smoke, the royal advisor Sanjaya is shouting. He is begging the elders to get to their feet and outrun the encroaching flames. Yet, amidst the roaring chaos, 3 elderly figures are sitting perfectly still on the forest floor. They refuse to move. These figures are the blind king Dhritarashtra, his wife Gandhari, still wearing her blindfold, and mother Kunti. To stay seated while a wildfire surrounds you requires an active suppression of the human biological drive to survive. This passivity contradicts their entire history. These 3 are the primary survivors of Kurukshetra, the most devastating war their world had ever seen. Why would people who endured the slaughter of their entire families and outlived the greatest warriors of their age suddenly allow a forest fire to take them? They have reached a point where staying in the fire is a calculated, final decision. Life in the palace of Hastinapur had become an unbearable reminder of what was lost. The elders retreated to the forest specifically to live out their final days in penance. They had already watched Vidura practice pryopavesha, the conscious renunciation of the body. He proved to them that it was time to leave the physical world behind. For King Dhritarashtra, his physical blindness was always a mirror for his metaphorical blindness, the toxic attachment to his sons that fueled the war. As the heat of the fire nears, the king realizes his ego and his earthly attachments are entirely exhausted. He tells Sanjaya that his time has come. The fire offers Dhritarashtra the only exit from a lifetime of blind ambition and the guilt that outlived his sons. Beside him, Queen Gandhari remains in the darkness of her blindfold. She has carried the weight of grieving for 100 sons for years. As the roaring flames begin to surround them completely, she reaches out and firmly holds her husband's hand. This gesture signals that she is finally letting go of the bitterness and the curses she once directed at her husband. Mother Kunti sits nearby. Her burden was different. She bore the secret of Karna and suffered for decades to protect the Pandavas from the truth of their lineage. Kunti calmly closes her eyes and begins a prayer for divine acceptance. With these words, she acknowledges that her earthly duty is finished. She no longer needs to act as the suffering shield for her children. For both queens, the fire acts as a purifying force, removing the specific psychological weights of grief and maternal duty. Sanjaya is the only one to escape the inferno. He travels back to the palace to give the news to King Yudhishthira. The realization that their mother and uncle were taken by the fire causes the seemingly invincible Pandava warriors to break down completely. We have to consider why the author, Maharishi Vyasa, chose such an uncompromising end for these characters. This timeline shows a structural necessity. Stable peace is difficult to achieve, while the original architects of the conflict remain in the world. For the kingdom to fully move toward the upcoming Ashwamedha Yagya, the final remnants of the previous generation had to be incinerated. The elders demonstrate that true resolution sometimes requires the wisdom to stop surviving and let the past burn away. With the forest now silent, the stage is set for the Pandavas to establish their own legacy. Next, we look at the start of the great Ashwamedha Yagya.